We want to turn to another set of occupied territories and another very difficult circumstance that's making news around the world, and that is the ongoing violence being directed towards Palestinian people, ethnic cleansing, apartheid in the West Bank of Palestine, occupied Palestine. And we are very, very happy to be joined here on the show once again by Alice Kisiya, who is a Palestinian Christian activist from Beit Jala in the occupied West Bank. Alice, thank you so much for being back with us.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Well, it's really an honor to have you here. Obviously, unfortunately, this morning, two teenagers found dead in the West Bank, killed by the Israelis. I believe just over 200, maybe 204 children have been killed since October 7th in the West Bank. I mean, it seems that, I mean, obviously what's happening in Gaza is unspeakable, but it does feel that in the West Bank as well, the level of escalation and violence is extreme and, ongoing and continuing. And I was hoping you could just say something about what the current situation is there and the challenges being faced by Palestinian people.
Since 7th of October, they have been taking advantage of the media that are focusing on the war and on what's happening inside Israel and Gaza, and they started to annex more and more of the West Bank. It's almost like whenever you go in West Bank, you have settlements. So rather than also the settlers' violence, the kids that they are using for their own benefits, for their own good. So it's not only land theft; it's also child abuse what they are doing. So if you look at this subject, it has multiple dimensions, which has land theft, settlers' violence, child abuse, ethnic cleansing, and lots of things that are violating the international and human law. So in the West Bank, it's really terrifying. It's horrible. The settlers are getting more and more dangerous. They are backed up by the military and the police. For me, as Alice, I have been attacked by settlers, and they kicked me out of my land and my home, along with my family. And they were backed by the police also and the army. Though we have all the documents that needed, and still they are doing what they want. But thank God, in 4 months we have succeeded to get them out. We kicked them out of the land, and we still proceeding our legal process. But what's happening around? We are not the only family that are facing demolitions and eviction orders, but lots of families that are helpless. Um, we didn't see them yet. It's ethnic cleansing, and it has to be stopped.
It looks in this context here, and the Knesset voted yesterday, rather, 71-13 for a full annexation of the West Bank, and obviously they're moving towards that in a general sense here. But you made the point that they're sort of taking advantage of what's happening in Gaza to accelerate in the West Bank. I mean, it does feel like in this context, the possibility for sort of the total abrogation of any rights for Palestinians in the West Bank is very much on the table. And I mean, what would be the consequences, or what does this mean, I think, for the future of the Palestinian cause here, that this sort of open annexation seems to be a bigger part of the discourse in Israel?
Let's be open, and in my opinion, they will never do it. It's all propaganda. It's all just their tactics. Their way is to spread rumors, to spread fear. So what makes people leave is the fear. And if they succeeded with putting fear in people's heart, they will leave. But Palestinians are really strong. Since many years, they have been trying to make us leave, and we stayed in our land, and it will never happen. Let them vote till more 10 years in Knesset. They will never succeed taking the West Bank. And I think what's happening now in the West Bank, because they know that they are leaving soon, there will be two-state solutions, and they are trying to take as much as possible lands. They are trying to evacuate as much as people as possible. But in my opinion, my personal opinion, they will never succeed. Palestinians will never leave. They will stay. But what they did in the West Bank, they have blocked all of the cities. Like each city has an electric gate, so whenever they want to close it, they can close it in just a second. It's like ghettos. So they are trying to separate each city and people from each others. But I believe soon everything will be better than before because we have hope. And as Christian from Bethlehem that have faced demolitions and faced eviction and settlers harassment and all of this, I have faith in Jesus, and I believe that justice will prevail. And I want to tell everyone that this is not a religious war. It's a profit war. Whatever they are trying to take from Palestinian lands, it's all for projects. It's all for money. The politics is just a propaganda. But all people that are trying to take Palestinian lands, they are working for projects that brings them millions and millions of dollars, and it's not about religion. They don't care about Jews, they don't care about Christians, they don't care about Muslims, and they don't care about anyone. All what they care is about money, and this is the problem. So when people understand that those settlers are not moving alone, there are big organizations, settlers organizations are funding this, they will understand that the head of the snake are not the settlers, the kids. It's the big organizations that we have to fight, and we have to stop this. Like Americans and people around the world should stop funding those settlers organizations, because also Christians, Muslims, and Jews are suffering from this.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned at the beginning of the interview that the police are backed up by the military, because in the U.S. media, because of some of the recent settler attacks against the military, they're sort of portraying it as if, you know, the police and the settlers are on one side and the military is actually there kind of in the middle, protecting people, you know, on both sides. And I was hoping you could talk about that, because I think that's it's all like if Ben Gvir wasn't there, everything would be fine. And the IDF is some sort of protector or something like that of Palestinians in the West Bank.
I want to mention that I'm a Palestinian with an Israeli citizenship. I'm also French. So what happened just proved to me that no matter who you are in this country, if you're not typical Jew, Israeli Jew, you're still a second class citizen. So they don't care, like the IDF, they don't really care. They have orders, and those orders come from Smotrich and Ben Gvir, who are funding this also. So the police, for example, in the West Bank, I have faced so much racism because I have defended my land, and I have been attacked by settler, and they arrested me many times, and they don't really care if you have an Israeli citizenship or Palestinian or whatever. Whatever orders they have for their own projects, they will keep going with it. And the police and the army have orders to follow this. They maybe the IDF, some of them, they have orders, they don't know what's happening, they're just following the orders. But all of it is funded by those settlers organizations that have been forging documents. There are land deals exchanged in the West Bank. It's like people around the world, they don't really what's happening inside the West Bank. People, when Palestinians want to defend their lands, they cannot go to Israeli courts, and they hire lawyers, and those lawyers could be bribed, could be threatened, could be manipulated. And this is how people are losing their lands. And also it's tactics when they send settlers to harass people. When they, for example, what happened with me also is that they convinced my neighbors to get their documents done, so they have to sign a new map where where they erase our name and put Himenota, which is the Jewish National Fund daughter company instead. And because of their fear, my neighbors, they are Palestinian, because of their fear of losing their land, they did so. It's like, it's not only, it's a tactic since many years. There are lots of plans that they follow, sending settlers, convincing our neighbors, spreading rumors that people sold the land, which is not true. But all of it, it's about forging documents. It's about people are being manipulated with rumors, so they leave, they immigrate, they just get tired. We have been in this story since more than 15 years, and we still struggling, and we will never leave the land. We're still fighting them. And I hope lots of people stay in their lands, because there will come one day where justice will prevail. And I want to say something, that those settlers, the kids, they they are being used, and they should wake up that their own organizations, their own government are using them. And it's not about promised land. It's about project land, a profit land. This is what they care.
One of the things that I love to hear your response about, I mean, recently, of course, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, made some statements, as did U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. They're under pressure, of course, from Christians here in the United States to speak out against attacks on churches and the Christian community. But they, of course, have been outspoken in their support of Israel for many, many decades. I wonder how in Christian communities there in the West Bank, those statements landed. I mean, was it welcome? Does it feel hollow? And what should the U.S. government really be doing if it wants to protect people in the West Bank?
I think people are tired of statements. We are tired of talking. We need actions. And the statements, they do nothing. And what I think is that it's the right time that our Christian institutions to speak out, to act. It's enough, because I know also our Christian institutions are under threat. They are not free to do whatever they want. So when we wake up, the majority of Western Christians, of what's really happening, what's really happening in the cradle of Jesus Christ in Bethlehem and in the West Bank, and they should know that Jesus, he was born in Bethlehem, and they are still supporting the Israeli government, or the Israeli actions, in a way of defending them, that they are the promised people, the promised land, or whatever. They should wake up about what's really happening to the indigenous Christians in Bethlehem, or in the Holy Land, and in Taipei, or anywhere else, because the Christian community is getting really smaller. We are less than 2%. And I believe that Christians are more dangerous for the Israeli government, because Christians have another way of thinking, another way of reacting, and it's easier for them to give them more permissions to travel, or make it easier for them to travel. So when they annex the West Bank, they will take advantage of it and say, because of Muslims, we'll take off this land, or blah, 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 because there will be no Christians to protect those lands anymore. It's the responsibility for all Christians around the world to wake up, to act, and for the Christian institutions around the world to stop, releasing statements, or politicians releasing statements, and act, because it's enough. We are tired. We are really tired.
Well, Alice, we really appreciate you being willing to join us, and we appreciate everything you have going on. Before we let you go, I know that you're also pushing forward with your legal fight, and there is a way I think people can support you. So I wanted to just ask about that briefly before we let you go.
Thank you a lot. Of course, they can visit my Instagram, Alice Kisiya, or Save El Mafrour, and there's the GoFund link, because also the settlers, they have accused me and my mom of running over a soldier, which is not true. And they arrested me for that before 7 months, and the civil court has released me. And but they in a way they want to push me more to to concentrate on another thing than the land. So they opened a lawsuit against me and my mom to put me in prison again. So it's very helpful that people would support through the GoFundMe. And I really appreciate the time that you gave me, and you gave me an opportunity to speak on your stage. Thank you a lot.
Absolutely. No, it was an honor. Thank you so much.
My honor.